know it's like 2-3 weeks, y'all knocking boots. But
2-3 weeks?
Some people, no.
Be like 2-3 hours.
Oh my gosh, you're ridiculous. Hey y'all, it's your girl Nadia.
And it's me, Coach T.
We are two average people. We are going to do another Q&A today. We're going to ask some questions and kind of get each other's responses and see what we think, about these questions. So let's go.
All right,
ready, babe?
Let's go.
All right, here we go. First one. How long do you think a couple should date before becoming official?
How long do you think a couple should date before becoming official? Okay, let's do it like this. Let's say it's not necessarily up to the amount of dates, because I think that puts too much of a expectation on it. Let's say you say 3 dates, right? Which is super fast. Some people might look at that and go, yeah, that's perfect. And other people might look at that and go, I don't know you. It's right there. It's right there in the in-between line. So I would say no less than like 5-6 dates, no less. And a genuine connection that can justify many more dates without either person feeling uncomfortable with that.
I like it.
That makes sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah, so to answer the question, the minimum, 5-6.
At least 5 to 6 dates.
That is minimum.
I don't know that you can put a time frame on it, because I think there definitely needs to be some things that need to happen before you make it official.
Makes sense.
But for me, it's hard to put a time on it, right? And so you're right. I think there needs to be a connection, right? A deep connection that's more than physical. Because obviously you guys probably are on a first, second date, third date because there was a physical attraction, right?
Real quick, side note. Don't even go on a second date if there's no physical attraction. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to the other person. Just be physically attracted first so that y'all both can enjoy the time. It's going to suck for one of you if that's not the case. All right, just throwing that out there.
Well, I mean, people may disagree with that, but we won't go off on too many tangents, right? Because apparently I didn't think you were attractive when I first saw you.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
I don't remember that.
That's what was said.
My friend was I said, ew.
How you say ew to this?
I know. I don't know that I said that, but
I got gray hairs everywhere and I'm sexy as hell.
Sexy, right? And so I married you, so. No, my baby is fine. So, back to the question. I don't know that you can put a time on it, but yes, you do need to have a connection. I think there needs to be a conversation around 5 or 6 dates about where this is going, right? And so, because in your mind, you may think, oh yeah, this is good. We've been on a few dates. We're official. Other person might be like, yeah, we're just kicking it. We're just friends, really good to hang out. So you definitely need to have that conversation about where this is going. Hey.
No assumptions. No assumptions.
And you don't need to be like, hey, are we official or what? It could just be like, hey, I'm really feeling you. I think that we have a connection. And so I'd like to talk about, what the near future looks like. And so I'm not going to put a time frame on it. But I'm definitely going to say that you guys need to have a conversation about where it's going before it becomes official.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my answer. All right, babe, you ready for the second one? Oh, you got more?
Real quick. What about sex?
Oh. Sex.
Monkey wrench.
Yeah. It's hard to say. Okay, so.
That's what she said.
Shut up. We grew up, our parents telling us, wait till you're married to have sex, right? So if that's what you want to follow and you want to go for, hey, go for it, right? But if you're one of those people that want to test it out before you get married.
Where would that fall? is the question.
I think you need to. I'm old school though. I feel like you need to be dating some time before sex comes in, right?
I
so
agree.
I would say, and many people won't agree, I would say at least 6 months of dating before you test the waters. Sorry, guys, because I know
6
y'all
months?
got problems.
Ooh. Whew. All right, I had to take a breath on that one. 6 months, huh? All right.
So what? No?
6 months. A man should be willing to wait for you, absolutely, to be with you. There's no question about that. However,
here comes the but.
However, getting a man that you're most likely to want to actually do that, that's God's work.
I'm old school, y'all. I haven't dated in years. Okay, so I may not be the one to ask about that. Especially in today. I know it's like 2-3 weeks, y'all knocking boots, but
2-3 weeks.
Some people, no.
Like 2-3 hours.
Oh my gosh, you're ridiculous. Anyway, moving on to the next question. This one right here.
I'm just saying, it's true. It's true.
He ain't dated in a long time either, so I don't even know what he's.
YouTube exists. They talk about it. They tell you about it. They tell you what's happening in these streets.
Okay.
It's like, okay, wow, that's.
Everybody doesn't need to subscribe to that.
I didn't say they have to. I'm just saying in today's day and age, that's what everybody's doing. So it's hard to not walk out your door and go, oh.
And how many of them get callbacks when you're giving it up that fast?
I didn't say that they was getting any kind of callbacks. I only said that sometimes it's not that difficult. So putting a paywall behind it might not work for everybody. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I hope we don't ever break up because it ain't gonna be no 2 to 3 weeks.
Fuck that guy anyway. I don't like that nigga no way.
All right. Second question. Could you continue to be with someone who you are no longer physically attracted to? Why or why not?
See, it's complicated because clearly at one point you were attracted.
That's complicated. It's hard to say. Okay, so I'm going to answer the question yes and no. I think if there was let's take weight, for example, right? Obviously, you meet, you're a certain weight. Sometimes people gain weight, lose weight, whatever reason.
Yeah.
I think in that case, yes. I think I would try to maybe motivate, work together and see if we could try to, lose some weight or gain weight or whatever the weight issue is. Say if it was something that was out of their control.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Then that's different.
That's the tough part.
I would say yes. I could definitely work with, stay with you and, God forbid, a car accident or something like that, right?
I'm not going nowhere.
But if it was something that you had control over, and I use weight as an example, not to offend, but something that you could control as far as like weight is concerned or smoking or whatever the thing may be, I would hopefully try to encourage you in the positive direction, because my thing would be with the weight is being healthy, right? And I'm not saying if you were big, you would be unhealthy, but there's people who lose a lot of weight and aren't healthy either. There's different things. So I would try to push in that direction. I think I think it could spill over though to a place where, okay, well, I'm eating unhealthy. I'm not, taking care of myself. So to me, I would more explore that, well, there's a deeper issue here than just you want to eat and bad and, not take care of yourself. So I would then try to say, okay, is there something else going on? Because, you're eating junk food every night or you're sitting on the couch or, so it would be more of an exploration. And that's then, fair. Obviously, I guess everybody has a limit. But my limit would be very long in that case.
Yeah.
It would take me a while to probably get there, especially with you. So that's my answer. So for me personally, I think if it was something out of my control, then no. If it was something in your control, then I would really, really try to stand and push, but everybody has their limits, so I'm not going to say that I wouldn't get to mine.
Yeah, I think.
What do you think, babe?
Yeah, I think similarly to you, but there's a bit of a wrinkle in the way I'm seeing it as well. So like, you're dealing with this individual who you loved and who you loved everything about at one point, and then this thing happens like wait, not like a car accident where there's like a sudden change and then there's a change in life.
Right. That's different.
That's different. But like something like with weight, like you said, it kind of doesn't just hit the weight part. Like it hits all the parts. Like there's a deeper exploration there. But the problem with that is that I see is you could fall out of love with various aspects along that path too. Like for example, I say, I'm going to gain a ton of weight. Or maybe I don't realize it, but I gained 100 pounds, right? Maybe you love me, but you no longer love the fact that I present like I have a lack of discipline. And maybe that's a huge turnoff, no matter how much you love me.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
Yes, there's a physical attraction where you didn't sign up with a dude with a huge belly, but here I am. Maybe you don't want that.
Right.
There's another place where you can just,
Right.
Maybe it's gonna come with depression. And maybe you're just not in the mental space to deal with that.
That's
so
what
loving
I'm saying,
me is one thing, but that's still a part of that chain that you have to accept one way or the other, and that it's a whole can of worms. So we'll skip right past that. Let's get to the next question. But that popped in my head, and I went, oof.
And that's why it's interesting that you say that, because earlier you had mentioned, if you're not physically attracted to someone, just don't even bother.
On the first date.
On the first date.
Yes.
But I think one of the things that I always say is you will change, right?
Yes.
You're going to change. Physically, just because life happens, you experience things mentally, emotionally, hopefully you will become more mature. And so just be prepared that no matter who you are and what you do, if you are in a relationship by yourself, you will change.
Yeah.
Okay? So just be prepared for that. I'm not always going to look the way that I definitely don't look the way that I looked when we got together. He doesn't either,
Absolutely.
And that's okay. But again, it's about recognizing that if there's really deeper issues going on there, that you pay attention to those.
Also, it's also about paying attention to what it is you like,
right,
and are in like with right now about the physical form. Because, like she said, we don't look the same, but we got together in high school. There's no way we were going to look the same.
There's no way we're going to look the same, right? I was like, how many pounds lighter? It's just not going to happen.
But if we can't be reasonable about it, like we're growing older, and I have grays now. You know what I'm saying? And what if you don't like the grays? What if I don't like the grays?
Your wrinkles start coming up. I've had a child, so my body has changed after having a child. There's going to be different things that are going to... It's inevitable, y'all. Right?
Those changes, not the changes we talking about.
Right. So, and it might be for some people, but what we're trying to say is be prepared.
Yeah.
That they're coming. Change is coming. So how are you going to prepare yourself? How are you going to stay united as you change, as you develop, as you mature?
Yeah.
Right?
Love it.
Last question, y'all.
Last one.
Do you believe in living together before marriage? Why or why not?
Absolutely, I do. I definitely do. I do because at the end of the day, part of the reason for not living together before marriage is abstinence from sex and and not having children out of wedlock and all that good stuff, right? But here's the problem. That's kind of already happening pretty rampantly. So what we have to do is to take into consideration how people are going to move throughout the world and how that will affect people as they mature into becoming dating age and so forth, and what they may believe in. So the truth is, for some people, getting together before marriage and living together is a really super bad idea. And for other people, it's a super smart idea. It's exactly what they should do. So to me, the only answer is yes, because for some people, that answer is yes.
So why would it be a bad idea for some people?
I feel like for some people, like the way we grew up, super religious, right? living together before marriage, technically for us, would have been like super taboo, which causes stress on any relationship. If you're not the type of person who can stand up to that kind of external stress onto your relationship,
that's a good point.
maybe that's not a good idea at all, just generally speaking. And especially if you two are moving toward marriage anyway, there's no need to add that extra stress. Just don't do it. Because there's no need. You're going to get there anyway.
And that's interesting because for us, we didn't live together before we got married.
Not
right?
technically.
Because financially, it was just cheaper.
It's super cheap.
I think if we were saving a lot, we were trying to save a lot of money. And so he was actually living on his own with his roommate, with his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got engaged, he moved back home
To save.
to save money, right? Because we were trying to buy a house, we're trying to pay for a wedding and all these other things, right? Which thankfully we were able to do all those things.
Amen.
Well, let me answer the question first.
Sure.
I think a couple should live together before they get married. And the reason is because that old saying of you don't really know someone until you live with them.
Facts.
I really think there's some truth to that,
It's
right?
facts. Yeah.
You know, being in someone's space, especially when the way you grew up, like the way we grew up, our dynamic was very different, right? I was just me and my mom. So I didn't have to share anything. I didn't have to, my mom and I shared like jewelry, and obviously we was in the same bathroom, but that's different. We know each other's rhythm. But when you're sharing something with someone who, like him, who was always used to sharing everything because he had a big family, right?
Yeah.
And he's of the opposite sex than me, so that's a whole new.
Different through the world.
I didn't grow up with a man in the house for long periods of time. I lived with cousins and stuff that were adults, but for long periods of time, I didn't really have a man in the house, and I was so young, I wasn't paying attention to how men, like, they leave the toilet seat up and all those things. That wasn't part of my childhood, right? Not knocking it, but it just wasn't. And so what would you say, I guess, was the hard transition for us in the beginning, because we've never lived together?
The hard transition in the beginning was really for you.
Yeah.
Because I was used
agree.
to having people in my space, I'm used to having to kind of negotiate what that looks like. Don't touch this plate in the fridge because that's somebody else's plate. But see that guy back there? It's been in there for too long, so I'm going to go ahead and have it, and whoever's going to get mad can get mad.
Yeah.
Like all those type of nuances we already worked out between all like 10 of us at whatever time there was, in my home. But the hard part for you was, as you quite rightly said, you didn't have to share anything.
I didn't have to share anything. It was really hard.
Anything.
And think, when you're marrying someone, you're also marrying their family too.
And my family,
right?
I love us, but we are intrusive. And we don't mean to be. It's just that as a family, we are all super connected. So we tend to treat everybody who we see as family in the same way.
Yeah.
Forgetting that not everybody feels that warm hug, that warm embrace the same way.
Right.
Some people feel it as, get away, it's too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like there was a little bit of that, but for the most part, it was difficult to edit the way you've lived for the 27, 28 years at that point, to form something more together. That part was hard.
Yeah.
It almost felt like, oh, I'm supposed to just come in and settle to your point of view, and then you realize, no, I'm kind of supposed to settle toward our point of view.
Right.
And then you went, well, how do we do that?
How do we do that? Right, because I don't really know what our point of view is yet.
Right, exactly.
So there's definitely some kinks, I think, that you have to work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I speak for women when I say that some women may be nervous to live with their significant other before they get married, because they may feel that their significant other won't commit, right? And so there's that issue of, okay, well, we have been in a relationship for 3 years, we're moving in together, but he hasn't proposed yet. So what if I move in with him now and he's getting everything that he's going to get when we get married? Is he going to propose? And so, there's definitely things that you're going to have to think about when you decide to live together. because I know that that could be a big problem for some people.
I gotta say, you're absolutely right.
So
like there's a whole thought process here that really needs to be said, and that is, if you're going to go live with somebody before marriage, it should be leading toward marriage.
Right.
I think it shouldn't be for convenience necessarily.
Right. And make sure you got, again, those talks. Make sure you guys are on the same page about where you are in your relationship, because you may think, okay, well, if I move in with him, maybe he'll marry me.
Nope.
And he's like, nah, this is just cheaper.
Yep.
To live together.
Guys are super practical. We will just do the practical thing just because it's practical.
Right.
Like, don't test that water.
And then on the other side, he may say, well, I may get more sex. And she's like, nah, I'm just... we were having this much sex before, so...
Facts.
What's changed now?
Yep.
So again, having those conversations, making sure that you guys are on the same page, doesn't mean you won't miss each other. That doesn't mean that you won't need to come back and kind of adjust things, especially if you haven't lived together before. We had to do it in the beginning of our marriage, and luckily it was just the two of us. We didn't have London yet, but we had to work out a lot of things, So
yeah, we did.
That's our little word of wisdom for you guys. Catch us on the next Q&A. We got plenty of them coming up, y'all. We're going to talk about some stuff, so look out for those. All right, and we will see you guys next time. Remember, love is a choice. It's not easy, but it's always worth it.
Always worth it.
See you guys next time.